Hoi hoi folks, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name's Sean, aka Uncle Frogface, and welcome to today's video. So today we're going to be doing some sculpture to replicate a prop from a movie, and this is a Christmas themed movie. So one of my favourite Christmas themed movies of the last few years, obviously being a horror writer, I like the creepy. It was Krampus from 2015. One of my favourite scenes in the film is towards the end when the young boy opens his present and he has his calling card from Krampus, which appears earlier in the movie as well when the grandma's telling her story. So I thought that would make an interesting Christmas decoration, something that can hang on the tree. So I've got some polymer clay, I've got my tools, let's get to it. Okay, so first thing that I did was to make a quick plan. So these are measurements from Wetter Workshops, who made all the props, and that's the bit of text that goes round the bell. So I've got my super sculpy medium, so a brand new block, load of tools. These are what I'm going to be using for my armature. So these are just some stainless steel serving bowls that just happen to be the right size. Some foil, some liquid sculpey, and that's everything I'm going to be using. So first thing is to prepare these armatures really. So they've got flat bottoms, which for one side is absolutely fine for the top part because there's like a little loop at the top, but for the other side I wanted to round it off, so I'm just adding a little bit of foil to the top just to get rid of that flat bottom, and then covering the whole thing in foil. And this is because I don't want these bowls to be stuck inside the bell. I want them to be hollow inside, so if I wrap it in foil, it means that when baking is done I can take the bowls out from inside and hopefully peel away all of the foil as well. And I'm doing that to both bowls just so that they're prepared to have the clay on top of it. Okay, and that's roughly what it will look like together. And here I've preconditioned this clay, so I don't have a pasta roller as a lot of polymer clay artists do. I've not used polymer clay for a very long time, so I just took a couple of bits of greaseproof paper, and after kind of cutting it all up and squishing it together, I just rolled it out between the baking parchment with a standard rolling pin, and then folded it, rolled it, folded it, folded it and rolled it until I had a nice consistency. And now I'm just wrapping these bowls, these foil covered bowls, and cutting away the excess. And I started doing this with a knife just to get a kind of starting point, and then I'm just going in and breaking away the excess with my finger along the edge of the bowl. Yeah, and I do that for the other one, and we end up with these two clay covered bowls. Now the bell has this ridge around the middle of it because it's kind of the way it looks is that it's been cast in two separate pieces and they're stuck together, which is exactly the way I'm doing it, just with polymer clay. So I've got this snake of clay, just wrapping it around the edge, measuring it up and cutting it off, and then blending it together and blending it into the side of the bowl. So I start coming in with a rubber tool, and then I kind of chop and change between lots of different tools. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I'm just really experimenting and playing. Like I say, it's been a long time since I've used polymer clay. It must be 4 or 5 years since I last used polymer clay, and I'm just getting back into it. I'm really enjoying it, actually. It's fun to experiment with different things, and I've never used the medium stuff before either, which was an interesting experience, but I really enjoyed it, and I think I will continue with that. I might also get some firm and some soft so that I can just do some different things. So these props, the props in the Krampus movie from 2015, were designed by Wetter Workshops, who have done some amazing films and amazing props. If I could work at a prop studio, I would want to work at Wetter. I'd either want to design props or I'd want to create stop motion puppets. I love that kind of stuff. But getting back to the bell, this sleigh bell has on the bottom edge, it has an X cut across it. So I'm just marking that out now. And you'll see really the versatility of polymer clay here, and I do mess up, it's not exactly aligned. But so I don't even know where I got this tool or what it is. It's probably a surgical tool, but it was handy for marking out these circles. But as I say, I noticed that it wasn't quite straight, so I'm just recutting where I want that line to go across, and then just blending out the first line. And that's really one of the benefits of polymer clay, is that you don't have to worry about it drying. You can leave it workable for days and days and days and come back to it, and it's still going to remain like that until you actually bake it. I'm just taking out these circles, and when this is finished it will be hollow, so you'll be able to see through these holes and through these kind of slashes in the bottom of the bell as well. So I've made a few props and kind of prop replicas over the years, but it's something I've not done for a long time, so I'm looking forward to getting back into it. I'm just using a bit of clay softener here to soften up some of those edges so they can blend it out a little bit. Actually, I say clay softener, it's actually baby oil, which is a cheaper alternative. But one of the things I love about props is the kind of the painting afterwards and the distressing. The sculpting is all very well, and you can get some really interesting effects, but painting afterwards, oh, I love it, absolutely love it. So I'm coming in and I'm just doing kind of initial mark out of the designs on the bottom of the bell, so it has this kind of ridge that runs around the edges of these cuts. So I'm just going around with this small dotting tool and marking it in, and then afterwards I want it to be a little bit deeper, so I come back in with a pointer tool and make them a bit deeper. So while I'm doing this, it's a good time to talk about the holidays and Christmas movies and horror movies. My favourite movie of all time is The Nightmare Before Christmas, which just happens to also be a Halloween movie and a Christmas movie. I don't think it's one or the other, I think it's both. Fight me. I'll fight to the death on that matter. But what are some of your favourite holiday movies? I know that Andrew's particularly fond, my husband's particularly fond of Home Alone. My brother, for instance, loves Elf. My niece is The Grinch. So what are your favourite holiday movies? Leave a comment down below. Tell me what your favourite holiday movie is. Okay, so this is the top of the bell now, and this is really using anything that's at your disposal. So this is an old pencil sharpener, and it just happened to be about the right diameter, so I'm just using that to cut in the mark around the top of the bell. You can see there just at the side there I've also created the loop to go on top, and actually it was too big, so later I come in and I just trimmed that down. But that was just a little block of clay, and I just made a hole in it and used the tool to kind of carve it down so that it looked like it was hammered metal rather than just a piece of clay. And you can see again I had the circle in the wrong position, so I just did it again, smoothed out the original one, and now I'm just redefining that again. So back to the bottom, and in each of these quarters there's like a little shield design, and in each shield there is a Norse rune. So I'm just coming in again with an explorer tool. I'm just cutting in those shapes and then deepening them, and then coming in and I'll put the runes in afterwards. And the good thing with this kind of cutting, the reason I'm going so deep with the cutting in, is really for the painting, because this, in the movie, it's an old worn bell, so I wanted it to look like an old worn brass bell, so I play around with some colours. I put a bit of patina in there, some really heavy dirt, just to really dirty it up. That's all for shield shapes. You can see one of them wasn't great, so again, recut it, smooth out the line. And this is a really quick sculpt as well. I think the whole sculpting in total took about 25 minutes. Wasn't very long at all. I didn't want to spend ages on this. I just wanted to make something fun and quick for the holidays. There we go. So that's our runes. That's the first one. And second. I want this all to be really rough and ready, you know, like it's been made in a grungy workshop somewhere. So all of the runes have been cut in. Around the top of the bell, it says Gruß vom Krampus, which I believe in German translates to greetings from Krampus, and it's done in this really nice script. So I drew that out first. You'll see that on the plan that I had originally. So I just found an image from Weta Workshops of their prop archives, and now I'm just coming in and again marking it in. I'm going very lightly, and then I come in afterwards and cut it in a little bit deeper. And it's not perfect, but it's good enough, and I really enjoyed this actually. Lettering is not a strong point of mine. I definitely did these letters a little bit too big, but I don't think it really matters. No, this is a prop for me and no one else, so that's absolutely fine. No such thing as perfect after all. And obviously well, not obviously, but I don't speak German. I wish I did. I wish I knew more than just English, but you know, even English I struggle with sometimes. And I teach English, which is fun. But I think Gruß vom Krampus is the right pronunciation. Feel free to correct me down below. And while I'm doing this, it's a good opportunity for me to mention that I am almost at 100 subscribers, which is just insane because I'm only do this for fun, just sharing what I would normally be doing anyway. But if you're watching this and you're enjoying what you see and you haven't already subscribed, feel free to subscribe. I post semi-regularly, either arts or crafts videos. Feel free to like and comment as well, all that good stuff. There we go. Gruß vom Krampus. So as I said, I wanted this to be kind of old looking, like it's been worn and thrown around a bit and knocked around. So this is just a scrunched up piece of foil, kind of loosely scrunched up. I'm just going over and just gently tapping, and this just gives a little bit of extra texture to the outside of the bell. Also makes it look a little bit more like hammered metal. And this is that piece that I cut down a little bit, and I'm just using a bit of liquid clay or bacon bond or whatever you want to call it. I'm just blending that onto the top, and that just ensures that when it bakes it adheres properly and it doesn't fall apart. Worst thing is when you bake something and you haven't stuck it together properly and it just falls apart after baking. So there we are, baked. I've taken out the armature, the make do armature from inside. I want to make sure these stick together really well. So I'm just taking a bit of sandpaper and just rubbing the flat bottoms across the sandpaper just to have a really smooth flat edge. And now I want to make sure that the inside is painted as well. So this is just matte black acrylic, nothing special. It's cheap paint. I believe in using what's available and what's affordable. So this is really cheap. I think it's from the Works, a collection of paints. There we go, and that way, when it's all stuck together, I don't have to worry about painting the inside because it's already done. And if you peek through the holes, you will just see a nice black inside. Lovely. So once those are both dry, taking some of our CA, cyanoacrylate super glue, and a toothpick, run that around the edge, and we're just going to glue these parts together to complete the bell prop in its entirety. And then when that's dry, we can get on to painting. So the good thing with this glue is it's actually a builder's merchant glue. So I positioned it together, stuck it together, and you've got a little bit more working time. So I put it together, I thought, I'm not quite sure on that position. Pop it apart, and then reposition and glue down, and then within a matter of seconds, it has stuck. Okay, so I left that to dry just for a little bit, and then I took some bronze paint and some of that black and mixed it together to give this kind of dark antique bronze colour. I just want a little bit of that shine to come through, but I want it mainly to be this kind of dark, dank, metallic colour. And really just painting the whole thing in our base coat, making sure that I get into all of those nooks and crannies in the lettering and all around. And this is our base coat. So I'm going to be using a few different painting techniques on this, but the base coat is really just cover it all in the same colour, make sure it's nice and flat, and then you've got something to work from. Between coats as well, I hit this with a hairdryer just to speed up the process, and that is it all painted. You see it's dark, but it has a little bit of a sheen, and that I just spilt on the desk is Viridian Hue acrylic paint, a little bit of the metallic antique bronze that I made, and lots of water. And this is just a patina wash, so when brass rusts it has a kind of greenish hue because of the copper in it, and that's what we're replicating here. I'm just going over the whole thing in a very light wash, and once I hit that with a hairdryer I come back, add a little bit more in a couple of places just to add some depth, and it just gives a variety of different colours and shades over the whole prop. It's a messy job as well. Okay, so that is all patinaed, and it's a very subtle patina, but now I want to bring out a little bit more of the bronze texture, so I'm dry brushing, getting a very small amount on a stiff bristle brush. I'm just going over some of the raised areas and just kind of going across the edge. A bit heavy handed in some places, but that's absolutely fine because we're going to be dirtying it up again afterwards. And this shows up some of the details that we scratched in, but it also adds to that effect of this being a piece of metal. And you can see anywhere that we've got kind of a sticky out, so this ridge around the edge, that's where, you know, it's going to rub against clothes or bits of wood or whatever it's attached to, and the patina will rub off. So for a dirt pass, I have got, this is some yellow ochre, and I'm mixing it with a little bit of that Viridian Hue mix, and I vary this colour a lot, so I add a little bit more green, a little bit of black, a little bit more yellow ochre, and I go backwards and forwards because dirt isn't a uniform colour. And this is really a case of smashing it into all the places that dirt would collect, and then rubbing it away with a tissue, but not being too kind of meticulous about rubbing it away. And then all the places that dirt would naturally collect, that paint stays, and it gives it this kind of aged dirt look. And I'm coming in and really smashing it into the letters, because I want those to kind of be seen a little bit more clearly. Not too clearly, I don't want it to stand out too much, but that is an area where dirt would collect. There we go, a bit of variation on the colour as well. And the same on the bottom, so all of these engraved areas, or what would be kind of engraving in inverted commas, that's where dirt would collect. So that's where I'm kind of really pushing the paint in and then rubbing away on the surface, and when this dries it kind of sinks down a little bit. So I'm adding a little bit more yellow colour to the letters, again just for a bit of variety in the dirt. And now finally I wanted to add a few kind of darker areas. It's just a very watered down black. I'm just kind of brushing it over just to give the indication of some shadows, some kind of a different kind of dirt, almost like oil. And again, just kind of loosely putting it on and patting most of it away, and then hitting it with a hairdryer afterwards. And this is the final result. Gruß vom Krampus. That is our replica sleigh bell from the 2015 movie Krampus. So there we are, this was a lot of fun to make, and I have added a red ribbon to my Krampus Christmas sleigh bell. I'm looking forward to hanging that on our Christmas tree for many years to come. I'm sure my husband will be very happy with that. He hates all the creepy things that I make. But thanks for joining me. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I really hope you enjoyed this little replica prop. And I wish you all a very Merry Christmas or season's greetings wherever you are in the world. Until next time, goodbye.